Obviously, we are out at Luke Air Force Base, and we are with Lieutenant Colonel Smith. Thanks for doing this. I appreciate the time. What is your full title? You're at your title here on the post.
Yeah, so I'm a Lieutenant Colonel in the Air Force, and I'm the Deputy Commander of the Mission Support Group.
So what Luke Air Force Base is known for is training the best pilots in the world.
That's right.
So this is what you're known for, but there's so much more that happens here. Before we talk about the pilots that train here, let's talk about the impact of Luke in the community around us.
Sure, so we have 7,000 people that work here on the base. So we're like a small city of our own, situated in Glendale. And the vast majority of the people that work on base live in the local communities. Only a small percentage lives on the base. And so we're in the communities, our kids are going to the local schools, we're shopping, at the local small businesses, and we're a big part of this community.
And many of your spouses also are working in the community as well.
That's right. It's a big challenge for military spouses when they move states or even move different countries to pick up where they left off. And so there is some great federal legislation that lets them transfer their credentials if they're a teacher or they're a medical professional. And so now it's much easier for them to transfer and find a job when they hit the ground here.
So let's talk about the pilots. You could put me in a NASCAR, and it's not going to drive the way a professional driver drives it.
Sure.
Talk about the people that you train to fly this aircraft and what makes them the best in the world.
So we put through about 250 students a year, and when they reach us, the youngest students have gone through about 1.5 years of pilot training. And so they've proven themselves. They have Air Force wings on their chest. They're a certified pilot. But we have to teach them how to fly this plane, a very advanced, complex fighter jet. And so it takes about 8 months to take them learning about the jet, learning about the systems, how it flies, going through about 20 simulator missions before they step in it for the first time and fly on their own. There's no two-seaters, so the first time you fly, you're all by yourself. But our training system is so reliable and comprehensive that we have no doubts that they'll be ready when they sit in that plane for the first time.
What is it like for you having been a student, not in the F-35, but a student here? It was the F-16s then, right?
Right.
So you trained here at Luke Air Force Base as a young pilot. Does that help you with these young pilots that come in? Do you kind of know how to literally put yourself in their boots?
Absolutely. I mean, that experience when I trained in the F-16 2007, that was my first experience flying a fighter jet, being in the culture, feeling that pressure, and the demands of learning to fly a high-performance aircraft. And so that experience definitely informs how I approach a student, how I teach and mentor them, because we've been there before, we've gone through it. Now, I personally think the training they do now is more difficult than what I went through when I was a young student.
Do you at some point think you know what these guys or these people are going to go through, meaning before they step in it, you know what they're feeling?
Yes. So a lot of times, I try and prepare them for the mission ahead, like tell them, hey, these are the expected challenges you're going to have. You may have a difficulty shifting your focus, or you may be saturated by lots of tasks and decisions. And so that's what makes a good instructor pilot, is the ability to break that down, give them strategies and coping mechanisms so that they can succeed.
Almost 20 years ago you were here. Does it feel like it's been almost 20 years ago that you were a trainee?
Some days, flying fighter jets, my body feels like it's been 20 years. But no, in essence, I feel like, some days I could be that student again, and I would trade places with them.
What does the public, the community at large, need to know about Luke Air Force Base that they don't see from outside the fence line?
So for one, we are very grateful for the community support we receive. The local community is extremely supportive of us here at the base. But what we're doing on base here, and the way we do it consistently, those 250 students a year, that's very important for our national defense. That we have trained pilots ready to go fly this in operational theaters. And if we're not doing our job here, eventually the pilots will run out and we won't have a world-class Air Force.
Yeah, and I think training the best in the world and the best aircraft is what makes us so elite. And this is how you know he's a trained professional. I was so distracted by the jet noise. You didn't even blink. Do you just get used to it?
Oh, you do. I mean, I've been working on this base for 6 years now, this tour, and jet noise is a constant. But we really appreciate everyone in the public who comes up to us, shakes our hand, and says they love the sound of freedom.
I was going to say, they call it the sound of freedom for a reason. Luke Air Force Base truly is the training base across the world for F-35 pilots. And here's one of the instructors. We got more to bring to you in just a few minutes.